I'm going to make this a really quick intro because the shoot is a lot more fun than me talking. First thing we're going to look at, the GVM pocket light. Okay, so to be fair, they call it a pocket light because the size of it compared to their other lights. It is small. It is a beautiful light. I do love this thing. I love this little handle they have on it. And it's also, it tilts, for your whatever. Love this thing. It's a 60 watt. I'm not going to go into text. This is the fan for it. This is like a mini Bowen's mount. This is really well made. And I've been using it for shoots along with the GVM 300, 650, and 300C Pros. Love these lights. So that's the first part of this. And the second part of this, by the way, you're really going to love this. And I watched this video. And I'm using the Voigtlander Apo, but I'm using the Tech Art autofocus adapter on the ZF. I thought, when I first started, I did a couple shots. I was like, okay, well, it's hit and miss. Then I said, you know what? Just don't think about it, because most people that are going to use this thing aren't going to think about it. They're not going to slow down. They're just going to expect it to work like a great autofocus system. But I just want to show you what it does, just not thinking about it and shooting. So that's what I did for the shoot. This shoot's a lot of fun. Jana came in from Boston to shoot with me. This is like, we shot together for years and years and years, and then she moved away. So now it's like when she comes in, it's like that treat. And we did have a blast. But anyway, let's take a look at this shoot, because I think you're really going to enjoy this. And we really played with these lights a lot, using the color. And I'm not one for color, but I threw some color light in there with the 300C. GVM did a great job with these lights. And I love this new addition, the pocket light. I really love the way this thing is built, the way it handles. This is like the perfect light for your backlight, your hair light, a rim light. This is fantastic. When you turn it on after using a 300 or 650, the 60 watt is like, but then I'm always turning it down because I'm using it as a rim light or a side light and a backlight. So it definitely has enough power for that use. But I can see a lot of people using this thing because it is really an impressive light, and it's so well made. Like, this thing it's beautiful. That's all I'm going to say, but let's get to the shoot.
Now, to start, I have to tell you, over the past couple of years, I bought 15 to 20 of these lights, the GVM standard version lights, and I bought the panels, the cob lights, everything, and I've never really clicked with them. They just weren't for me. I don't know if it was the quality of the light, the power, whatever it was, they didn't work, and I ended up giving them all away. My daughter even tried them because she's an influencer. She's very picky about lights. She never liked any of them. When the Pro Series came out, I immediately, said to my daughter, try these. They may be perfect for you. And she bought the panel lights. Absolutely, positively loved them. And that's what prompted me to buy the 650 and the 300 to start with. I absolutely loved them. Bought another 300C. And then I begged for the new one, the 60B, their pocket light in the Pro Series, which is that one I showed you in the beginning, and that's on the right there. I use it for a side light, hair light, rim light, whatever you want to call it. The 60 watt normally would not be something I would ever even consider using, but it is perfect for this setup. So if you do have like a 300 or a 650, this little light, as that accent light, is perfect. The size, the weight, the portability of it is fantastic. Now, speaking of portability, I'm not one for using these lights on location. I mean, I can't imagine carrying this much stuff around. There's some of these lights are pretty heavy. The 650 especially, the head is very heavy. And I know video people have to do this. As a photographer, thank God I don't have to, because I can use strobe. So location-wise, I'm always going to use strobe. And if I want color like this, I'll throw a gel on it. But for in the studio, being able to shoot without strobe and seeing what I'm getting, I loved it. I'm really enjoying these lights. And the Pro Series, I really can highly recommend, and I never thought I would ever say that. But I'm going to show you just different scenarios with these lights. And what I wanted to do is try to create contrast and unique looks with the lights, even though I don't have like grids on them or special modifiers. I'm just moving them around, adjusting the output to see what I can do with them. And, so far I really do love them. Now, would grids help and so forth? Absolutely. I think, if you're going to get into this type system, the projectors, the grids would be a benefit, barn doors. But for me, I like to use them just the way they are. This is the way I shoot. So, and again, I don't use color very often. I just wanted to show it for the video. Just literally to show what that 300C can do. And I like it. The images came out great. Now, I was shooting at ISO 200, 3/50th of a second, give or take, at 2.8 to 3.4 throughout this shoot. And that 60, I left on, even when she was changing, a lot of times I just left it on. And it lasted through the whole shoot. So, and the shoot was probably an hour long. So the battery life was pretty good on it. But I wasn't at full power. I didn't need full power with it. Now, there was one section here that I did use it on full power just to see what I can do, which is coming up. But, it just wasn't enough for what I wanted to do. And I more or less put it as a main, which just, it didn't work. I had to pull in the 300C for that. But we'll get to that. So the tech art autofocus thing, okay, I don't want to say that this is like the perfect thing for manual focus lenses. It is fun to use. Would I recommend it? Yeah, probably, if you want to use manual focus in autofocus mode on your ZF or any Z camera for that matter. It did work well, and if you take your time, it can be accurate. But it's not, you're not going to have every shot in focus. I just want to say that. But it did help, and I did get at least 80% in focus. You do have to take your time. You do have to, just slow down with this thing, and it'll work. Now, I'm using the 50 Apo on it, which is a ridiculously sharp lens anyway. And I had a few shots where I like, oh, damn, I wish I got it in focus. But you can't really tell all the time because it's not as accurate or as, the feedback isn't as much as a regular autofocus lens, verifying that it's in focus. Sometimes it just sits there and it's really not in focus, but it's showing that it is. I don't even know how to say it. It works though. That it's impressively heavy for the size, but not too heavy that it would bother you using it. I'm going back and forth with saying, buy it. If I was doing a job, I wouldn't trust it for a job, if that makes sense. But I did enjoy using it, so I can't say. Will I? The big question is, will I use it again? I'm absolutely going to use it again. I will use it on the ZF quite a bit, actually. But again, I can't 100% say, hey, I recommend this for commercial work because, I'm going to use it for fun and enjoyment of the Leica and Voigtlander lenses on the ZF. That's for me. So that I can say, here's I just zoomed in close. It's the lens obviously is tack sharp, and it did nail focus quite a bit. 80% for this type of item is pretty impressive in my opinion. Price wise, I think it's $399. I think it's worth it for the technology that's in this little. When you pull this thing out and think, oh wow, there's autofocus motors in the ear. Not only just one, but 4 autofocus motors in this tiny adapter. It's just impressive. And you got to give props to TechArt for creating something this spectacular. And when I got it, the mount that it's on is a USB for upgrading and everything. So they really, it's an impressive unit. That's all I'm going to say about it. So yeah. Now, I'm using the app a lot with these lights because it actually works now. The regular series GVMs barely worked. That app was just so horrific. On top of that, it would just give you these random names. It wouldn't say the name of the light. it would just give you random names and you had to guess which one it was. And then when you use it, it would go up to the top. So they would constantly move positions in the app and you never knew which light you were doing. So it was just more frustrating than anything. And I would end up going over to the light and changing it, which is why I stopped using them. With this one, the name of the light is actually on there. They stay in the same position that you added them. It makes it much easier. So the app, they did a really good job with. Now, if I shut the lights off or, unplug them for a while, I have to reconnect them to Bluetooth, which is not a big deal. You just go over to the app and say, reset Bluetooth, and then turn on the app, turn on the light, and they connect again. A little frustrating at times, but okay. So I put the camera to the tungsten mode to give you that blue look. And I tried to use the 60. I put that in tungsten at 3600, to counter the camera setting of tungsten, so you get the blue look and then she's correct, but it didn't have enough power. So I set it back to the back again, and I'm going to use the 300 the same way. You'll see it switch over to the 3600 Kelvin. And I just wanted to play with it to get a different look, something unique for the photo. You can do all kinds of stuff with these lights. You just have to play with them. The best thing is not watching somebody do this. It's getting the lights and just doing it yourself and having fun. Because this stuff is a lot of fun, and the unique things you can do with LEDs that, you can do them with strobe, but you can't do them as easily, or it's not really as much fun because, you're just guessing half the time and then looking at the back of the camera all the time. With these, you can see what you're getting. And now this is a really unique look. No gels or anything. It's just, 3600 on the camera, 3600 on the main light to counter it. And it works, but a lot of fun. And then I, left that light there, turned it back to 5600 Kelvin, and the camera back to, 5600 Kelvin, and just did a hard light look, because both Jana and I love hard light. So, it's nothing special. It's nothing spectacular. It doesn't jump off the page. But, the thing is, I just did some light retouching on these, minor color adjustments. Nothing really major at all because I did the gray card in the beginning. But you can do so much with these in post when you have something to start great to work with. And these images, they're just solid images, and that gives you a really good starting point for whatever you want to do in Lightroom or Photoshop later. Now the scrim, I'm really enjoying the scrim, the 650 up there. It is a fill light 100%. When I turn it up full, it can be a main light, but I can take it down quite a bit, which I love. And then, use the main light as the main light and create shadows, and then just put a touch of fill in where I need it with that scrim. You don't need the scrim to do what I'm doing. You just use a large umbrella, for God's sakes, and it will work the same, because not many people have. This is a small studio, don't get me wrong, but a lot of people are shooting out of their homes with these, and giant modifiers are not your best friend in a home with a lower ceiling. But these will give you the same type of look with smaller modifiers, and the creativity that you have with these is it's endless. It really is. Anyway, I really hope you enjoyed this shoot. I had so much fun doing it. I have to say, I apologize to GVM for not giving all the specs and everything they wanted, you to say during these videos, because they did give me that 60B for free. But I love it. I'm just being honest with you. Thanks for watching as always.